star. Things won't be the same. Everybody knows your name when you are.
So Chris Haynes joins us now. Gordon Hayward has emerged, and I've actually been hearing about this for some time now from Brian Windhorst, that he's one of the hot free agents. They have seemed to roll out the carpet for him. Tell me about his visit to Boston and what it all means.
Well, look, a lot of people don't know. He's in Salt Lake City, a small market team. Gordon Hayward, over the course of his career, has improved each and every season. So it's only right that he puts himself in position to be coveted by the likes of the Boston Celtics, the Miami Heat. He's the real deal now. Look, and if you look at what the Celtics can offer him as far as the potential to get to the NBA Finals relatively easy, that's what they provide. But also, Miami provides that elsewhere. The dilemma that he faces is that Utah is doing everything that they can to bring him back. Like I said, the dilemma and the problem is the Golden State Warriors over there. There's not really a realistic path for him to get to the finals. So that's something he's going to have to deal with. Do I chase a finals appearance, or do I stay here and wait out the dynasty that is the Warriors?
All right, Chris, help me understand something. I'm a little confused. So the dilemma is that he is getting enticed by his current team or the Golden State Warriors? What's the dilemma?
Well, the dilemma is he's getting enticed by his team. And most people think that he's going to resign with Utah. But the dilemma is, do you stay in Utah and wait out the dynasty that is the Golden State Warriors? Most people believe that the Warriors are in the bag for the NBA Finals for the next 3, maybe 4 years. If he goes over there to the Eastern Conference, what most people are right now calling the Leastern Conference, they figure he would have a much better chance to get to those finals. Because remember, the Cavaliers are one injury away from a key player from allowing anybody to dethrone them. Talking Toronto, Washington, Miami, Boston. So that's the dilemma he has. All
right, so what's the perception of him around the league?
Well, it's definitely changed. I remember when he first came into the league, when I would talk with players in the locker room, they were like, can this white guy play? Can he really get it done? You remember, he was getting a lot of hype coming out of Butler, all the stereotypes that, the typical comments that come with that. But I think his game speaks for itself. I think you can see that he's an all-star type player. And I remember talking with Kevin Durant during the course of this season and just talking to him off to the side. I asked him, who's the most underrated player that nobody talks about? He said Gordon Hayward. So I think that speaks volumes.
All right, so yeah, it does, especially if that's coming from Kevin Durant. Gordon Hayward, a hot free agent. A lot of people are interested in him, as you can say, but he doesn't want to stay in the West and have to wait for the Golden State Warriors to be this dynasty, as you say. And now he may consider going to Boston, or I don't know, is there another team on the table for him?
No, it's pretty much those three. Those are the three options. And look, it's going to come down to how can he better help himself. You got to remember, he wants to take that next step. It's all about money, and that he's going to be taken care of financially whichever way he chooses to go. But with Miami, he can be the missing piece. Boston, he can be the missing piece to take them to the next level. When you go back to Utah, there's familiarity. They're doing everything they can to bring him back and bring a good roster around him. But is he the missing piece in the Western Conference to take him to the next step? That's going to be a tough decision for him to make.
All right, Chris Haynes, speaking of tough decisions, I have to wrap this interview, sadly, and give it back to David because apparently he wants to work. I don't know. He's on vacation. He wants to work.
I want the ball. Get me the ball.
Apparently.
We got
That's
Tom
what they
Penn
say.
back with us. All right, so let's take a look at both Boston and Miami and see how this would work and what he would mean. We had the old haircut, by the way, on Gordon Hayward, not the new stylish.
The new do, right?
All right, so we got Boston up. Take us through this and what it would look like.
Well, this is Danny Ainge's plan A, was maintain all these key assets, right? All this depth, and then remember what they've got here on the bench as well. Tatum, the number 3 pick. Brown, the last number 3 pick. Smart, he's taken 8th in the draft. All these draft picks, so they're not making any trades. So the idea is that Gordon Hayward comes into this space and then sits right in the middle of this new roster. That's what he always wanted, Danny Ainge, because everything else is slowly going away. To have Hayward as a finisher with Thomas, you got to look at the production from this kid. He averaged 22 a game. He shoots 47%, 40 from 3, which is what they need. He's just a well-rounded player. And the best thing he did was finish games for them in the playoffs, under pressure. Now you'd have two great dynamic finishers, and Bradley last year showed he can do it too. So I think this is about trying to get one more stud to lead them. And here's the deal. If they don't do it now, they're going to lose this cap space, because next summer he gets paid and he gets paid. These little numbers go away. They go to big numbers and no more cap space for the Celtics. So the pressure's on to do it now.
Okay. Will he be reunited with Brad Stevens? We'll see how that plays out. He met with the Heat as well. If you pop up Miami and take a look at what he would mean to their lineup, what do you see?
Well, you'd put him, it's another fit with a big three. It's all about positional for him, and you got to think about a point guard that's going to take care of getting him the ball in Dragic. I guarantee you this was their sales pitch. And then a big man to protect the rim, set big screens like what he's used to with Rudy Gobert. And then him just being able to shine in the Sunshine State along with those assets, so along with those stars. And then there's a couple other stars that I guarantee you they were pitching on. And Sarli, Tyler Johnson, and Josh McRoberts, it's not you guys. It's here. It's Pat Riley as the president and Eric Spoelstra as the coach. If you put those two in there, they are so proven in what they do. And you've got a couple of the best leaders in the league, a proven leader, and then an amazing head coach who is the kind of guy you'd want to play for. So that's the core nucleus that they would pitch him on, is these players along with these players, but the right head coach, the right president, organizational alignment, no state income taxes, your wife is happy.
It's sunny,
just a wonderful place to be. So tough decision for sure, because he can make $44 more million in Utah.
Okay, so it's down to Utah, Boston, and Miami, it seems like, for Gordon Hayward's services. All right, other news. Our agent Wojnarowski reporting that Derrick Rose is meeting with the Bucks today. Rose averaged 18 a game last season with the Knicks. All right, how would he fit in with Milwaukee? You put him with the Greek Freak. You got some other pieces. They just re-signed Tony Snell. What do you see in there in Bucks land?
I think it's going to be hard to get him in here. Let's think about why they want to do it. You mentioned it. The Greek Freak is their superstar, right? Parker had a great year last year, but he got hurt, and then they end up with the Rookie of the Year in Brogdon. So how does Derrick Rose fit with that young talent? And I'll have Maker as a young center as well. The challenge they're going to have is that they have 13 players under contract. They're already $20 million over the cap. And all they have is the mid-level exception to work with. I don't know if Derrick Rose is going to work with the mid-level exception, because you put him in here, it's only going to be $8.4 million right now if they do a little maneuvering. Derrick Rose comes into this mix. Now, why do they want him? They want him because this guy is a complementary piece who's going to attack the rim. We all talk about the warts of Derrick Rose, but this is what he does. He will get to the rim. He will finish. He will shoot that short little jumper. And he will play in transition and score the ball. That fits with the other players they have, and they can have Brogdon still sort of run the show as a traditional point guard, have Rose be a dynamic playmaker, and then really complement the Greek Freak and Parker. It's a great idea. I just don't know if they can pull it off, because I think Rose gets more cash somewhere else.
He'll command a lot more money, you think?
Should, but he may love it to get close enough to Chicago and be on what would make them a really interesting team in the East.
Absolutely. Tom Penn with us, talking us through some of the scenarios we could see from Derrick Rose and Gordon Hayward as well.
I don't know if you know that.
What do you got? What happened?
Yeah, okay. So Serena, did you hear about Serena and John McEnroe? And she can beat somebody who was 700.
You got very exercised about this, did you not?
I got very
outraged.
exercised about this, because I was like, what's the point? Like, only in tennis do we have to start comparing men and women. What is the point? She's great. She's a great athlete. As if men are the standard and women, what they do doesn't really matter. So that's how I took it. Well, I don't think John meant any harm by it. But John, as you well know, our colleague, often can put his foot in said mouth. This morning, our other colleague, Chris McKendry, who's also a tough cookie, talked to him about it. So take a listen and let's see what you think.
Plenty. Because she also said something along the lines that she wanted to, respect my privacy, let me just do my thing. And then I saw her doing a Demi Moore, the lookalike thing on the cover of Vanity Fair.
What does that have to do with anything?
She looked awfully good on that.
She looked great, but that's, did she want to be private, or was she looking for a little publicity there?
Bottom line, John, will you not take the bait on this topic again?
Chris, if that makes you feel better.
Yeah, it does. It makes all women feel better.
Bottom line, John. Bottom line, John. What do you think of that? You're quiet. You're always the quiet one. I'm always the one getting in trouble.
I thought it was a fascinating little dynamic there between you had 2 women and 2 men, and John McEnroe. He does not back down very easily. So
he does not.
It was good stuff. Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's back away.
Speaking of Wimbledon,
from that whole
back
thing.
away, cuddle back.
We got a top 5. Remember the top 5? Do you remember the top 5?
Vaguely. What do we do in that situation?
I put out a top 5 list. You put out a top 5 list, and we compare. And we had a judge. It's great. All right. Number 5 for me is the epic marathon between Isner and Mahou. Court 18 took 3 days, 11 hours.
I remember.
70, 68 in the 5th, Isner. So that's got to be on anybody's list. Number 4.
Anybody's list.
1993, Yana Navana. She's serving up 4-1 in the 30 against Steffi Graf. She's going to win Wimbledon, and then she couldn't get her serve in. She just fell apart. It was so sad. Then what a human moment. She cried on the shoulder of the Duchess of Kent. Remember this moment here? She gets her dish, but she wasn't happy. You say you don't? You don't remember that?
I don't remember that moment, but now
go
that
way back.
you told me about
You're
it,
just way too young. 3, Arthur
Not
Ashe.
too.
Jimmy
Amen,
Connors
David.
was a stud, and Arthur Ashe came through everyone thought he was over the hill, and he stunned Connors and won Wimbledon. Number 2.
Talk about it.
The tiebreak. We're going to get back to Johnny Mack. Here we go. 18-16 in the 4th set. However, I kind of forgot about it. Borg came back and won the 5th. He lost the tiebreak, but won the 5th, and then Borg would retire a year later.
How hot was Borg? You want to talk about that?
No, I do not want to talk about that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what you mean by hot, but let's look at the guns on Nadal here. 2008. McEnroe called this the greatest match he's ever seen.
Yeah.
A couple rain delays. I'm a Fed guy,
Yes.
but Nadal finally won it. It was dark. Yeah, it lasted Federer 9-7 in the 5th. Most people think that was one of the great matches they've ever seen anywhere, anytime.
You are absolutely right. That arguably they long for those days, and I'm with you. I'm a Fed guy too. He's just so elegant, and people just root for him. He's a favorite, but that was special. All right, here's my list. I only got video at number 5, and then the rest. And the rest to just give me a list
that's
here,
a bad
folks.
sign for your list if you've only got one piece of video.
Andy Murray, I can't believe you didn't put this on. When he won, he ended a 77-year drought for his home. I cannot believe you didn't put that on there. What's going on?
Whoops, I missed that one. Whoops. And then what?
Nicholas Mahou, John Isner, right there, 3 days with you. Okay, Borg McEnroe. There is a HBO special about them. Have you seen that? I think it was called Moment of the Court, Magic Moment. I can't remember. Ash, obviously, you put that on there, and Federer versus Nadal. I, however, have been told by the judge that I made a huge omission, and I have, and it's my fault because it's at the end of the day, it's my list. I forgot about Althea Gibson. I literally.
Shame on both of you, actually. 60 years ago this year, she became the first person of color to win Wimbledon. How can you miss that?
I know.
We got Arthur on there. Arthur?
No.
You thought he was over the hill?
Yeah. On the heels of the John McEnroe comment, you said we got Arthur and totally ignoring Althea. I got you.
I forgive us. That's why you're here, because you're the tennis expert. That's why you're here. So if you had to take a look at those lists, what do you think?
I'm going with yours, Carrie, mainly because I was there when Andy Murray won. To be on that court, to listen to that crowd, to be in that country at that moment was just truly historic. I think 89 to 90% of all televisions in the UK at that moment was watching the match. It was absolutely magical. And to beat your longtime Djokovic to do so, awesome moment. But the rest of the list, as you said, is hard to argue with.
Okay, so listen. Do you see his shirt, David? You see what he has on his shirt?
Yes. Is he going to do it this year, LZ? This would be unbelievable. He would break Ash's record, right? For the oldest.
I'm hoping that he's able to do so, but he's got a tough feeling. Rafa's looking great.
Yes. Nadal
I like your green.
LZ Granderson joining us. Thank you, LZ.
I like your green.